Hi, I'm Chef Gail Sokol and welcome to my kitchen. Today you're in for a treat. We're making double almond refrigerator cookies. And they are super simple and super impressive. And there's 2 doses of almonds in them. We have almonds actually where the dough is rolled into crushed almonds, and then we have almond paste. And then almond extract, so it's almost a triple threat. So the first thing I have done, and I'm not going to do that to waste time, I took 3/4 of a cup of naturally and then salted almonds. So don't get the ones that are blanched. Blanched means there's no skin on them. You want the skin. I sort of like the color, a little bit of color on the dough. I put it through my food processor until they've gotten finely crushed, just like this. All right, this is exactly 3/4 of a cup. It makes a lot. And then you're going to put them on a sheet pan with wax paper. All right. In anticipation of the dough getting rolled in them. All right. All right. Now we're about to make our dough. Super simple. 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of granulated sugar, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and about 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. If you don't have 1/8 of a teaspoon, just take a big pinch. No problem. We're going to give that a whirl around just to blend it up. Remember, we have a chemical leavener in there, that baking soda, so we want to make sure that it actually gets well blended. All right, once we're done there, 2 sticks of unsalted butter. And I actually have tried doing this with lighter butter or a margarine that's a little bit less saturated fat if you're watching your diet and you want something a little bit healthier. Although you can eat these in moderation and they can still be part of a healthy diet. All right, now I'm going to just sort of pulse it till I see the butter break down. Similar to a shortbread, this cookie. All right, so once you're done with that and you just have your, come take a look. Come take a look inside. All right, so you can see that the butter's broken down, but it's still super dry, not really a batter yet, or not a dough yet. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in 2 large eggs, the whole egg, a teaspoon of almond extract, and a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And now we're going to let it rip so that we end, oh, I can smell the almond extract. It's intoxicating. And you're going to keep it going until it sort of forms a dough. Okay. We're going to move some of these things out of the way. I'm so excited. Big bowl. I like to take what's in my food processor and put it in a big bowl, so that I can make sure all the ingredients are blended together. Because you can see there's some dry ingredients in there, and we don't want to put our hands in here because of course there's a blade. And the blade is not a healthy thing to grab. So try to get that out very, very gently. So if you're doing this with kids, this might be an adult activity to do. Make sure you get all the good stuff out. I always put my finger along the bottom, get all that out. Okay, food processor away. Very simple dough, right? We're going to gather it together. All right. You're going to see some crumbs on the bottom. Just sort of knead it together. You can smell that almond extract. It smells so good. I haven't preheated my oven yet because refrigerator cookies get chilled first, meaning the dough gets chilled. So I'm going to move my recipe over. And this is going to make about 2 dozen cookies. It'll make more if you want them smaller. I like them big. I like my cookies big. So you can see I'm actually incorporating all, you're not kneading it like a yeast dough or anything, but you do want to get all that loose flour and sugar that hasn't gotten sort of blended in, and make sure that it's actually blended in. And don't worry about over mixing it at this point because we're gonna let it rest in the refrigerator so any gluten forming proteins that did get developed will actually relax. Okay? Because it is a delicious cookie. Now, when you're done with this, I usually take half of it. So I'm going to take half right now. All right. I'm going to take my work surface of some sort. I just have a little cutting board. And you're going to take half. So remember, I got half left in here, and I'm going to work on this one later. And I'm going to make like a 2.5 diameter log. If you want to make it smaller, make it smaller. So this is going to end up being probably about 8 inches wide, depending on how big you want your cookie. So the bigger the cookie, the wider the log. So I'd say 2.5 inches. Remember, they're going to grow. They're going to grow in the oven. We like when they grow in the oven. And don't worry if they're not perfectly smooth, but you can sort of roll it. Sort of like reliving my childhood with that thing called Play-Doh. Remember that? That was fun. And we're just going to roll that. And I sort of give it a little smack on the ends so that they flatten a bit. Now you're going to bring over your beautiful almonds. Remember those? And you're going to roll this log in the almonds. Roll it up. You're going to roll it a few times. And make sure they really adhere. Push those babies in there. Because we want these refrigerator cookies to really be almond, and say almond with a capital A. So I'm going to roll them in. Now, any almonds that you don't use that are ground up here, you can actually put into a little saucepan or on a sheet pan in the oven and just toast them a little bit. Because remember, this dough does have some raw eggs in it, so I really don't want to encourage you to eat the almonds unless they've been, sort of heated, and kill anything that might be in there. So once you have this log, you can wrap it in plastic wrap or just leave it like it is, and you want to refrigerate it for about 2 to 4 hours or even overnight. Or at this point, you could wrap it in plastic wrap and freeze it for a couple months. Let me go wash my hands. I have some dough already chilled, and I'll show you what we're going to do with it. Let me swap them out. So I'll put this baby in. Remember, I'm going to repeat this with the other half as well. Almost looks like a cheese log, doesn't it? But so much better. And I have a parchment lined sheet pan, and I have a very sharp knife. At this point, these are chilled, so I can preheat my oven, 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm actually going to take this off of my sheet pan. It's pretty hard. You hear it? Pretty hard. I'm going to put it back on my cutting board. And I'm going to start cutting about 1/2 inch thick slices. You don't want to do this while they're frozen. If you do freeze them, put them back in the fridge. I'm just going to cut a few slices for you. I do about 1/2 inch thick. Let me show you. And then I'm gently, because the almonds sometimes can come off. Look how gorgeous that is. Put it on my parchment lined sheet pan. All right, and I don't like to put them too close together because they will spread a little. So 1/2 inch thick. All right. Each half of your dough should make about 12, depending on how thick. So if you want them thinner, make them thinner, and they'll make more. You want them a little thicker, they may take a few more minutes to bake. I would need another sheet pan to put these on, but I'm actually going to put these in the oven like that because we want to move on. So I'm going to put those in the oven in a second. Wash my hands again. Now we do the fun part, the double almond part. So I have some baked that I baked off right here. And while you take a gander at those, I'm just going to wipe this down so we don't have any unbaked dough around. All right. You always want to sort of clean up as you go. And what I have here is I made some ganache. So I took 1 cup of heavy cream, and that will be on the website's recipe for these. So it's 1 cup of heavy cream brought to a boil in a small saucepan. Take it off the heat and add 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips, bittersweet chocolate chips, whatever you have, high quality. And then you're gonna, sort of mix that up with a whisk. And then you're going to let it sit or chill for a little while until it gets a little bit sort of thicker, pipeable. And I put it into a pastry bag fitted with a large star tip, or you can even do this again with a freezer bag. And then I took almond paste, not marzipan. I took an 8-ounce container. It's usually it's either a little like round tin thing that you put it, that's in a box. Just open it up, cut it into 24 pieces because you're going to make about 24 cookies, and then roll each piece into a ball and then flatten it into a disc. And what I love to do is give a little bit of a ganache adhere. So this is sort of glue, and we're going to put it on the middle, in the middle of our cookie just to adhere, and then we're going to make a circle around this. Oh, yeah. That is what I call a double almond refrigerator cookie. Let's make another one. Let's make several, shall we? I'm going to be loving these. And then you're just going to go around. And I like to chill these a little bit because the ganache will be softer. But they're spectacular. They're so impressive. They're like straight from the bakery delicious, and they freeze well as well. So let me show you a few that I have made. How pretty they look. These have been chilled. They are gorgeous. Of course, you can see our side view of our toasted almonds, right? Beautiful, yeah? And then the inside, that beautiful, beautiful almond paste. Absolutely delicious and exquisite. I hope you enjoy these double almond refrigerator cookies. So I hope you become a subscriber. Until next time.